Pastor MacArthur is very vocal when he talks about the uselessness of world religions. He's actually almost of the impression that man's religions is one of the most damaging things that exist in the world today, right? It's even like more damaging like than some forms of heresy and forms of say atheism and things like that. He talks about how religion is just one of the chief forms of poison that exist in the world today, the poison man's mind. And so along with that very strong dislike for false religions other than Christianity, he throws Judaism in that, just right alongside like Hinduism and Buddhism and atheism and all the other isms that are poisonous to your average Christian. Judaism is just one in there. He doesn't appear to give Judaism the benefit of the fact that Judaism espouses belief in the same God that Christians do. Judaism shares the same half of the same Bible that Christians do. Judaism is the cradle that Christianity was birthed out of, et cetera, et cetera. He doesn't seem to make those particular statements very vocal. If he does believe them, I've not heard them very often. So in my comment here, my summary section, I say, speaking of Pastor MacArthur, arguably we found that the gist of MacArthur's comments was really aimed, I suppose it says comments should say were aimed, at any and all dead religions, I just mentioned this, to include many modern religions that we know of today. So he really just throws all dead religions, again, anything other than Christianity, he really just throws them out he wrings them out to dry. I mean, he lays the axe right at their roots. And I go on to say, given these facts about Pastor MacArthur, indeed, only Yeshua's words carry the way, the truth, and the life, I say. Like any religion, sans Christ, right? Sans meaning minus, any religion minus Christ, Judaism without Yeshua is hopelessly bankrupt, a point Pastor MacArthur aptly drove home time and time again. So that's why I said there's a little bit of cognitive dissonance. On the one hand, as a religious Jew myself, as a Messianic Jew, I appreciate the beauty of what Judaism brings to the table of discussion, even the non-Messianic forms of Judaism. There's some value in what they have to say, especially if it's rooted in the Bible. There's some insights that I can gain from reading the rabbinic materials and interacting with them. And so I don't swallow all of it. I certainly don't endorse all of what rabbinic Judaism has to offer, but I don't throw it out all out altogether. But Pastor MacArthur doesn't seem to have the same perspective as myself. He seems to think that it's hopelessly bankrupt. I'm using words that I seem to remember him using as well. Hopelessly bankrupt, meaning it is incompatible. In fact, I believe, thinking back now 5 to 7 years ago when I first began to put together the notes that became this particular essay or study that we're reading right now, and then I finally penned it, I believe it might have been one of Pastor MacArthur's sermons that actually kind of prompted me in the first place to begin to say, wow, I really don't like the way he's describing Judaism as this dead religion. I wish he would at least give Judaism a little bit of credit, a little bit of, little bit of understanding of that they are the ones that are still the kind of the form some of the foundations of Christianity, right? Everyone out there listening to my voice right now, my YouTube video or my iTunes podcast, you guys all understand that Christianity is not founded on, say, Islam or Buddhism or some Eastern religion or Gnosticism or something like that. Christianity is actually rooted in biblical Judaism. It's founded on biblical Judaism. And I'm describing Christianity as the part of religion that was birthed in the first century, even though elements of Christianity really run throughout all of the Bible. If you're thinking about belief in one God, relevancy of the scriptures, which are things that are central to Christian beliefs and faith. But I think it was Pastor MacArthur that began helping me to see that, wow, not everyone believes what I believe about the relevancy of Judaism. I go on to say my commentary. However, the overall thrust of John MacArthur's sermon proved to mirror the central tenets of replacement theology too closely, it's my opinion, and thus eventually we had to reject his interpretation of Matthew 9:14 through 17 altogether, I say, in search of a more historically accurate and scripturally sound position, which again was such a kind of a letdown for me, since I have all this respect for most of the other materials that John MacArthur offers. And so for that reason, I'll say this again, I've said it over and over again, I don't reject John MacArthur. I consider him a brother. I consider him a very valuable resource. I will continue to listen to his sermons and utilize his materials, and I'll endorse him openly. I don't have a problem with that. I consider him, like I said, a valuable champion of faith, and as such, I can feel comfortable endorsing his materials, even if I don't fully agree with his views on, say, Judaism.